Today I will be answering all the questions regarding my breast augmentation surgery. I should have done this several months ago, but I didn't, so I'm doing it now. I'm going to be going in depth with everything that went down for my surgery, including, sizing, doctor, everything, pricing, everything you can imagine. So I have a couple questions that you guys asked me, and I'm going to just dive right into the answers. Okay, so first question is, how many cc's did you get? I got 335 cc's, which, to put it in a more understanding way for someone who has never had any type of surgery in regards to, this area, typically the sizing goes from like 180 to up to almost 550 cc's. That's typically the range. You can go a bit lower, a bit higher, whatever. When you go into your consultation, he will measure like here, 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 essentially like the width and height of the area where you can put the implant. So, I wanted to go relatively big, but because I'm a small person, very petite, I couldn't really go as big as I wanted to, I guess you could say. But nevertheless, the consultation is where you'll decide your final size. Typically, he'll do the measurements and then he'll be like, okay, this is like the range of where you can go, depending on like what it is that you want. Next question, why did you feel the need to get breast augmentation? So, yeah, I've always been a very tiny girl. I'm only 5'2", and I didn't really weigh a lot, so I felt like I had a very tiny body and it wasn't very proportionate. I've wanted to have bigger boobs ever since I was very small. I remember being like 14 and everyone else like wearing a bra, and I'm there just like, nope, not me. So yeah, basically just personal preference. I never wanted to do it for any particular reason other than my own confidence, and there were a lot of things that caused complications. Like, I couldn't wear a strapless dress because it looked really weird from the front. I would always have to wear bras if I wore a turtleneck, otherwise I would literally look like a boy, things like that. So having to wear a bra every single day, especially a push-up bra, wasn't really the best, but I loved having small boobs. I thought it, there's a lot of pros and cons to having small boobs, but I just prefer the way I look now as I grab my boobs. Okay, next question. What was the healing process like? I feel like I'm really close to the camera. Okay, so the healing process, ignore the mess. I'm trying my hardest to become minimalistic, so I'm getting rid of a lot of things. It's very hard. Very hard. Back to the question. What was your healing process like? Okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like excruciating pain, the worst pain I've ever experienced my entire life, and 1 being, literally a pinch, it was like a 8.5. And the reason I say this, before, everyone starts freaking out and, thinking that breast augmentation is not worth it, the surgery I got was essentially 2 surgeries in one. So when I went for my first consultation, I don't know how to explain this. I'm gonna put a lot of diagrams, okay? When I went for my first consultation, they said that I couldn't go as big as I wanted to go because there was a lot of space in between my boobs, like where the sternum is. So it would look very weird. It would basically look like 2 just balls, so I didn't want that. He suggested I do an IM transplant, which basically it's when they remove some fat, not a lot, some fat, from either your thighs, your butt, or this area, and put it in between your boobs so they get closer and you have a more natural cleavage versus it just being like, So I had 2 surgeries in one. So the surgery was only supposed to be an hour. It turned out to be almost 3. First, they obviously, they put you to sleep. Then he did liposuction to remove a little bit of my waist here and put it in my boob. That hurt the most. So obviously I wasn't awake to feel anything. But when I woke up, let me tell y'all, when I woke up, it was, first of all, it felt like a nap. I woke up and it felt like like tiny little needles, just thousands of them, going in and out of where the fat was removed. Liposuction is not for the faint of heart. I'm telling you right now, I was laying there and all I can remember is me begging the nurse for morphine. I was like, please just give me a little bit more. And she was like, ma'am, if I give you any more, you will literally die. And I was like, no, it's okay, like, just, it's fine, just please, I need more. So, you know, it's not, that's my personal opinion, it really sucked. And I was in pain, like excruciating pain, just here, not here. This part was great. I didn't really feel any pain here until the second day, and that was because they were really swollen and they just feel really heavy at first, because like I didn't have anything before, so having things there was just weird. But yeah, lipo 1, step 0, just to put it in perspective. But if I were to have only gotten my boobs done and not had any of that extra stuff going on, it probably would have been like a 6 or a 5. Filler honestly hurt more than the boobs for me. Nevertheless, it's different for everyone. I've had friends who have just gotten their boobs done and they say they are out of commission for a week, so it really just depends on the person. But yeah, overall it wasn't bad. Would I do it again? Absolutely. How much did it cost you? So I have the receipts here. The total cost was $15,820. The reason it was so much was because I had the cohesive IM composite, which was $14,000, so the breast augmentation with that was total $14,000. Then tax was $1,820, so the total was $15,820. I paid for this all at once because you can do financing, however it takes a very long time, and depending on, you know, how you do your taxes and all of this, like they're very picky on who they allow to do financing, and I prefer to just get it right off the bat. So, you know, to each their own, but that's how much it costs. The reason that it's so expensive isn't even just the implant, it's the anesthesia, so make sure to add that into the cost. It's also not just that, you have to buy a new set of PJs, slippers, and you also have to pay for a lot of medication on your own. There's these like stickers that you have to put under the scar, or sorry, over the scar. That's also an added cost, depending if you're gonna do any sort of laser for the scar or anything like that. That's also an added cost. So surgery is not cheap, but you know, the price of beauty. Under or over the muscle? I went under the muscle, which is called fascia, and the reason behind that is because I didn't have a lot of projection. So there's several ways that you can put the implant, either through the armpit or under here. You know, it depends, but for me, I wasn't a suitable candidate for under the armpit for various reasons, so I went under here. And yeah, that was that. So what size are you now? So I actually haven't gotten measured because of COVID, but from my understanding, I was an A cup before, like an A B push-up, and now I'm closer to a D. It obviously depends on the bra that you get and the manufacturer, etc., but I'm a D now, like minimum. Where did you get them done? I got them done in Mississauga. The surgeon is called Dr. Frank Lista. I am not sponsored. I'm just being nice, and I want everyone to be able to find accessible surgeons, reliable surgeons, without having to pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars on consultations just to be even more confused than what you started. So I'll put everything in the description, but that's who I went to. I went to him in March 23rd, from what I remember, 2020. And yeah, in terms of consultation, the consultation was free, which was amazing because I know a lot of doctors, they charge $100 to $500 for a consultation, so that was mint. But yeah, honestly, do your research. Not every surgeon is going to be right for you, but please take your time when researching, and don't go for someone who just has a lot of followers on Instagram, or just because a girl who also has a lot of followers on Instagram went to this person, because a lot of the times it can be unreliable, and if they're very popular in terms of, you know, doing celebrities or this and this, you can be at a higher risk of getting botched. So just do your research and you'll be okay. How long is the recovery process? So it depends on every person. For me, it honestly wasn't very long at all. I was able to drive a car within a week, which again, it depends on where the implant goes through. If you get it through your armpit, it takes a much longer time because you can't do like this type of movement, versus if you get them under the boob. I don't know why I keep showing you guys like you don't know where it is. It depends. For me, it was like a couple days. After I stopped taking my painkillers, I was basically fine. It's just more so the sleeping factor. So for me, I couldn't sleep on my back because, well, if you think about it this way, if you have nothing on your chest and you lay on your back, you're fine, right? But then when you have things in them, they start to shift and move and it can be really uncomfortable. So I had to sit upright, like literally in sitting fetal position for almost 4 days, which was not the best, but they give you sleeping pills and things like that. And I'm sure I'm gonna get a question asking if they gave me Percocets. They did not. They gave me really intense Tylenol, so that's what I got. You know, you can ask your doctor, but 9 times out of 10 they will tell you no. They'll be like, you'll be fine, and they never prescribe that. So just food for thought. When can you work out again? Honestly, after a month and a half. You can start picking heavy things up after 4 weeks, but it feels very weird depending on what you're wearing. It is an added weight, so I wouldn't go like super hardcore your first session. Try to only do legs. Don't do any like chest or any type of arm workout because you're just going to be in a lot of pain. I got this question a lot. I'm sure it's pretty, you know, confusing because at least when I tried doing research on it, I didn't get a lot of solid information on this. Do you still have feeling around your nipples? Yes. When you first get your surgery, it feels very weird, especially if you've gone under the muscle. All in this area, you can't really feel anything. And it's very scary because you're like touching it and you can't feel it. So it's weird, and that's because the nerves are essentially molding around the implant and they're basically like coming back to life after they've just had this huge heavy thing on top of them. So for the first, I would say 2 weeks, it's very weird feeling just all over here. But afterwards, you know, it's fine, and now I can feel everything just fine. So how did your parents react to your surgery? So I come from a very traditional, strict household, and surgery isn't something that's, you know, just, you know, go get surgery, darling, like you'll be fine. No, it's very, very looked badly upon. So it wasn't necessarily the easiest transition, but with any sort of relationship, whether it's your friend or boyfriend or husband or even your parents, communication is super important. I actually didn't tell them that I was gonna get it done, and my mom found out on her own, so you can just imagine how that went down. But, you know, you have to talk to them and you have to essentially prove to them that this is what you want. I am an adult, so I am free to do these choices, but I also do live under the roof, so it's a very complicated situation. Nevertheless, you know, I had to talk to them. I had to explain why I wanted to do this, explain, you know, how I'm going to afford to do this, like all of these things, and be sure that the surgeon that I was going to was reliable. The last thing a parent wants is their child to, like, you know, struggle, especially when it's a cosmetic surgery and they're paying for it. So, you know, if you are thinking of doing this and your parents are very against it, whether it be a nose job, boob job, like whatever, just make sure you have a lot of information on what you're doing so they trust you more and they're able to give you that freedom without being so judgmental. For the last question, how has this changed your life in a sense? Well, for starters, I can wear absolutely anything I want, which is great. All my tops fit me really cute. I don't ever have to worry about a bikini not looking nice, so that's great. And you know, just confidence overall. I definitely wouldn't go back to the way I was before simply because this is what I'm used to now, but I love myself with and without boobs. It's just a matter of preference. Same way as people, you know, lose weight or want to, you know, get a bigger butt or bigger arms, you know, a tighter back, I don't know, anything, you know, it's all about how you feel and how you want to be perceived. And I think that a lot of things have changed for me after I've got the surgery. I feel a lot more confident in anything I wear, and even if it's, you know, very covered up, I still feel much better because it's a part of me now. It's not like I'm, you know, wearing a bra to depict something that isn't there. and things like that. So, you know, if you're thinking about surgery, just be aware that it's not just the surgery that you have to look into, it's how you're going to feel after the fact. A lot of times, you know, social media and especially other people can influence us into doing things because we think that that's right for us, or we think that by doing these things it's going to make us be a better person, but it's not. It's only going to change the way we look, and if you know, psychoanalyze these things, it's going to be worse for you in the long run. So my best advice if you're considering getting surgery is really dig deeper as to why you want it done. Is it really just a cosmetic situation, or is it an insecurity? Is it because a significant other feels like you need it? Things like that, because the reasoning behind your action is going to affect the reaction of what you do. So just, you know, think it through, do your research, and if you guys have any other questions, you can leave them below. I will try to answer all of them. In terms of what implant I got, because I know that's gonna like pop up and I forgot to say it earlier in the video, I got silicone, the gummy bear silicone, and you know, it doesn't puncture. I don't have to change it. Only if I have complications. I can breastfeed. What else? And it is soft to the touch. Like it feels real. So I hope I answered all of your guys' questions. And again, if you have anything to ask me, just feel free to say it down below. I am not going to respond to any hate because everyone is free to do whatever they want to do with their bodies. So this is just so that other people who are considering plastic surgery and they don't know where to start, they don't know who to go to, even for a consultation, this is, you know, a safe space. Okay? Wow. Where the implant goes through, if it goes to your armpit, it's a minimum. On Essence, they send you books.
Thanks for the books.
Oh shit. I